Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we just got back from Superman 2020. So we have to, disclaim that. And that's Superman 78 and Superman 2025, James Gunn Superman movie. We saw it this afternoon. We're going to review it. We're going to give you honest thoughts. Some of those thoughts, I don't know if people are going to agree with, but that's okay. You don't have to agree with us. There are opinions. So before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com. Check out some of our podcasts over there. You can sign up for free. Check out some articles. Thank you very much. And yada, yada, yada. You guys are here for our opinion on the Superman movie.
I was thinking you're going to say it's more like Superman 1983.
Yeah. So I guess what are we going to do? We're going to divide this into a
like we always do, spoiler free and then spoiler filled, because we always do it that way. Spoiler free first.
Okay. I didn't hate it, but I definitely did not love it.
Yeah. No, I think the actors were really good. I mean, for the most part, a couple of them, most of the actors were really well cast. The actors were really good. Crypto steals the show. Crypto's great. It's funny because he reminds us of our dog Vivi, which we've talked about often.
Yeah.
Where he wants to be good, but he's actually bad, but he wants so hard to be good. I like you said, I think Crypto and like Guy Gardner were like the biggest, and Mr. Terrific. I think they were like the characters that carried it.
Yeah, so that's my biggest complaint about this movie. I think the cast is fantastic. I like the fact that the movie is more comic booky than previous iterations.
Definitely comic booky. That's why I said I compare it more to Superman 3.
Yeah. And so that's a good thing in some ways, but it felt to me like this is very much a James Gunn movie.
Yep.
Right? Very much a James Gunn movie. And this is exactly what I was afraid of when they announced him doing Superman, is I'm like, I don't know if he's right for Superman. I mean, they can put him in charge of the DCEU or whatever the hell they're calling it now, the new DCU. But his style of filmmaking, I think, works very, very well for some characters. I think he'd be great on Lobo. I think he'd be great with Guy Gardner. We saw actually the Guy Gardner scenes kind of stole the show. But I don't think he's right for Superman. No. And tonally, it felt like once the Justice Gang shows up, that this movie is basically another Guardians of the Galaxy movie with Superman along for the ride.
Yeah, Squid King said he kind of feels like a side character in his own movie.
He feels like a side character in his own movie, yes.
I don't know if I go that far, but he definitely isn't the focus in some of the scenes. Like whenever Crypto shows up or like some of the other characters show up, they're definitely more the focus than he is. And sometimes I think it's just going for gag, like joke gags. Sometimes way more when it's this. I felt
like Superman was kind of a plot device. Like he was, you know what I'm saying? Like he was there to get, and things happened to him to get things to move along. But he, as a character, I don't feel like he was really, I didn't feel anything for Superman. Like I didn't feel anything for Superman. The only time I felt anything, and we'll talk about a particular scene, but like, I don't know. My problem is I'm going to compare every Superman movie to Superman 78. And this is not even in the ballpark.
I will say him as Superman felt more like, Christopher Reeve Superman.
Yes.
Than like any other I've seen in a while.
I wanted to discuss before we get into spoilers.
I did like that part. I did like that.
Before we get into spoilers, zero complaints about the cast.
No, they were great.
All of the cast, they were fantastic. Everybody was good. Everybody was perfect. Even Nathan Fillion with his stupid bowl cut. It was fine. They were good. Everybody was good in this movie. The script was shit. It was super shit. It was all over the place. It really felt disjointed. It felt to me like this is a really expensive, like
therapy
not
session?
even what's that?
I would say therapy session for Gunn.
No, it felt like me. It felt like a CW. I mean,
it does feel like, no, it totally feels like a CW show. 100%. It feels like what our one friend who went with us, he's way easier on things than we are and likes to enjoy things way more than like we'll get more critical than he will. He was even like, you know, it's kind of like you missed a whole first season of something and you're just being plopped into it. So it's kind of disjointed in places. And there was good parts, but it doesn't like go together.
Yeah, that's exactly it. There were individual scenes, and we've actually seen a lot of the really good scenes in the trailers. There were some good scenes, but the whole thing, just for me, again, you're allowed to have your opinion.
For the whole all 5 of us that went today felt the same way.
Everybody walked away from it like, what?
Well,
like,
did you notice people in the theater when it was over? They kind of were like, okay, and they walked out like, you know, usually you walk out and you're all excited and you're happy and you're talking about it and you're like, it was dead silent. And everybody just walked out like looking at the ground.
This is what I'm not understanding, because even on social media and looking at Rotten Tomatoes, like a lot of people really love this movie, and that's fine.
That's fine. If you like it, cool.
If you love it, and you think it's the best Superman movie ever, the bestest thing ever, good. I'm really happy for you.
You are allowed to like it and disagree with us.
Yeah.
We don't get mad about that.
I'm not going to fight with you over. I don't care. It's just a movie. It ain't my movie. It's James Gunn's problem. It's Warner Brothers' problem. Whatever. Just for me,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's fine. For Superman though, like I expected. How can I'm trying to articulate this. So I wanted a movie that wasn't grimdark, that was hopeful, that was optimistic, and some of that was there, but you had to squint, and it was all buried within. It was all buried within the jokes and the edginess, and it's like
felt like they were trying to do too many angles at once, and because they had too many things going on and too many characters, which we were concerned was going to be a problem.
And it is.
And like I said, it feels like it does feel like more like a CW show than than a Superman movie. And I do think
season finale of like season 3 of the Justice Gang show.
And I do feel like it's a therapy session for Gunn. Because some of the rumors that they said did happen, and it feels more like, you know, I know what it's like to be canceled, so I want to put that in the movie, you know, and talk about the Twitter monkeys and things that everybody's talking about. And I was like, oh my God. And our son actually said, you know, that's not really a spoiler because people were talking about it before, but our son said that moment, Squicky's like, that kind of took me right out of it because it was like kind of unrelated and it was stupid.
Yeah.
But it was very comic booky. But I can't explain. Comic books are way more fun than that. I don't know. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, it is
for me. It isn't for me. I'm just going to say that. Even though I do like the actors, I think the actors did a great job.
The actors were fantastic. The visuals were great. Some places it felt a little too hokey CGI, but like, I think part of it too is I was really looking forward to this movie more than any other movie this year. And maybe I let myself down because I kept thinking this was going to be like the Superman movie, and it's like he has to share the spotlight with a whole bunch of other characters. And
I mean, what James Gunn's good sometimes, and other times not so much. And he's really good with James Gunn's great with ensemble things, but he was trying to make this an ensemble movie when it wasn't meant to be an ensemble movie. I don't think it should have been an ensemble movie.
He turned it into Guardians of the Galaxy and Superman and Star-Lord.
Kinda. I think
that's basically it.
Gardner is more Star-Lord.
Well, yeah, but I mean, he was kind of like Rocket Raccoon, I was thinking, but it's the same kind of dynamics. You had even some of the plot points like, oh, I'm, special, and my family, and the family you're born with and the family you find, and that whole thing, that a lot of very similar scenes. A lot of it felt very much like this would have, like, if you told me this was a spin-off of Guardians of the Galaxy, I would have believed you, because even visually it looked a lot like Guardians of the Galaxy.
I don't know. I didn't watch I haven't watched the last one, but anyway, what would you give it out of 10? Because we'll talk about spoilers in a minute.
Oh, people are gonna hate me for this. A 5, maybe a 6.
That bad.
I don't think it's bad. That's what I want to get across to people. I don't think it's bad. It's just not the Superman movie. It's not the Superman movie in the way that Superman 78 was. It feels like it's too busy for a first movie. I am glad that we didn't do the origin again. Everybody knows the origin.
Yeah, I am too.
That's fine, but it was too busy.
I think Gunn gets in his own way. honestly.
Yeah.
I'd probably give it a 6.5, maybe a 7. I don't know. Maybe 6.5 is probably my max. But and the thing is, I hate saying that because I really like the actors, and
The
there are
actors
parts
are
in it I
great.
really
They're all
like.
great.
But there's a lot of parallels you can be drawn to current year things. It's not woke per se. People are right when they're saying it's not woke. It's not like that. But there are some things that they seem like they're stand-ins for current day things. And it's like, oh, for heaven's sakes. But
Yeah.
we'll talk about that in the spoiler time.
All right. So are we gonna just rip the Band-Aid off and get those spoilers?
So if you don't want to hear spoilers, please turn it off now and come back after you've watched it. If you want to hear spoilers, stay tuned and we will tell you spoilers.
All right. So the movie has Superman in it.
Yeah.
A little bit. When the Justice Gang shows up, he's not front and center anymore. I don't think
he's still the main character. He is the main character throughout the movie, but it doesn't. He seems like he's like, what did you say, like boiled chicken compared to everybody else who seems like a better character development.
So this is, and I made this analogy before. I used to work on the Disney comics. We used to work on Disney comics all the time, years. Like, I mean, we did a ton of Disney comics, and the one thing I noticed about the difference between the Duck comics, Donald Duck and Uncle Scrooge, and Mickey Mouse, is that Mickey Mouse is basically, he takes the shape of whatever container he's in. They don't have stories that are driven by Mickey Mouse's personality, because in the comics he really doesn't have that much of a personality.
He reacts.
He just reacts. It's like, oh, we're gonna do a fantasy story with Mickey Mouse. Oh, we're gonna do Mickey Mouse as a detective. Oh, we're gonna do Mickey Mouse doing whatever. Whereas with the Ducks have very strong personalities, and their personalities usually drive those stories. Mickey was boiled chicken. I made that comment before. I said, basically, it's like you can dress them up, but it's a side dish and the garnishes and the seasoning that's actually going to make the Mickey Mouse story good. And that's what it felt like here. Like, we have a good Superman, but he's bland, and he's surrounded by much more interesting characters.
Now, the good stuff, it does remind me of Christopher Reeve's Superman far more than like Henry Cavill. And I like Henry Cavill. I do. You all know I like Henry Cavill, but I like Henry Cavill more as like The Witcher, and I think this guy does Superman better. I really do think he does Superman better.
I think I think he's good. He is more comic book Superman. Like, when I think of Superman, and I like Henry Cavill. Don't get me wrong, but he isn't
paint
like
little men with him.
I would paint little Warhammer figurines with him. I would. But no, when I think of Superman, I think of the Boy Scout, right? I think of like this version of Superman, not.
And they do get that across.
Superman. Yes, they get that across.
He even saves a squirrel, which I relate to because I totally did the same thing.
Yeah. And I love that. I just wish it just feels like almost like, oh, this is kind of like his shtick, is like, he's a really good guy, but he's surrounded by all these like effed up people. And it's
well, let's start the beginning. So they started off this movie with basically throwing you into it. Like, you already had, this origin happen, which I don't mind that because we've seen that a million times.
Yeah.
And it was interesting how they started it, because that's that scene where he's like laying in the snow and he calls for Crypto. That's right at the beginning, because he just got his butt kicked by this other guy. But that's why it's kind of off-putting too, because they throw you in the middle of this thing where Crypto's there, and there's like this whole conflict going on that he's in the middle of, and you're just like, what the flip's going on? And it's kind of a neat introduction, but it doesn't feel like, I can't explain it. It needed more than that. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I didn't really love that they did it as like text. Because I mean, I guess in some ways it feels comic booky,
text. That's
but I'm also like, I don't know. I just felt like it could have been handled differently. And I'm like, then we're literally just watching the first trailer at this point.
So yeah, and Crypto steals the show. There's no question.
Yeah, Crypto's great.
But basically, he calls Crypto, goes home. This is his fortress of solitude, and now there's robots and stuff there.
Which I love the Superman robots. I love that here's what's so weird about this, and I'm not trying to like interject here, but like, they're bringing elements of Silver Age, classic Superman with the goofiness and the Superman robots and the whole thing, Crypto, all that, which is cool. But then they kind of like pair it up with like Gen Z humor and James Gunn sensibilities that doesn't quite
right. It's like pick a side,
Right.
And then you see that again though with Lex Luthor, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Something I'm going to pointing out. But like, I'm going to tell you right now, Lex Luthor seems like a stand-in for Elon Musk. Just going to rip that Band-Aid off.
Yeah.
Also, our son said this and he's not wrong. He said the problem with Lex Luthor is 1 minute he's being like jokey and weird and like, not but he's like not so serious, and then the next minute he's shooting somebody in the head. So it doesn't know quite what it wants to be in that regard either. Like it can't decide if it's like the Silver Age comic or they're going to try to go with like more current year stuff.
Right.
There's this war going on. Well, he stopped the war, and that's what they're mad at him about, because he stopped this war. And basically, I'm going to tell you there, it also feels like it's Israel and Gaza. I'm just going to, the really, really well weaponed up, one group, and then is going against all these poor, like, people in the desert kind of situation. And it does kind of seem like they're trying to do like an allegory for that. The immigration thing that we talked about before isn't really brought up, other than the fact they keep calling him an it and an alien. And the whole point is, well, they keep saying he's bad because he's an alien, but it turns out that he's actually good because, he brings his goodness, and even though he's an alien. His parents from Krypton left a message for him. He only ever heard half the message. And so they sent him there to, help Earthlings. But the other half of the message turned out, you're supposed to rule over them. And you're supposed to mate with the women and have a bunch of kids.
There was actually a hashtag. It was like, was it Superman harem? And I was like, oh my, harem
or something.
Super harem. I was like, oh my God. And they're all going on. Like, actually, when that happened, when they're like, and I bet he's got harems. That was like this like big conspiracy theory. Like he's got secret harems right now. I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm completely taken out of this movie.
And who he got his butt kicked by in the beginning was this Ultraman guy that Lex has. That basically,
not the cool one from Japan.
No, not the cool
DC
one.
Comics
but basically, he turns around and he's like, feeding him like what to do, like do this maneuver, do that maneuver, basically trying to fight him.
Yeah, it's like a video. It's like an avatar because Lex can't take on Superman.
So he uses this other character.
So he uses
And what are you gonna say?
No, I'm just thinking like I don't know. Go ahead with your thoughts.
I was gonna say, so that happens, that's going on, and here Lois already knows who he is, and they've been dating for 3 months, and then you see the whole scene where they're arguing with each other. But she seems to change her tune later, I want to point out. But she's, and then she makes comments like, I didn't think it would work out. And Jimmy Olsen, some reason, all the girls are all over him and like him, even though he looks like Jimmy Olsen, though. So I'll give him that. And let me think, what else? Yeah, but Lex, like, he somehow created what do they call it? He made a
pocket dimension.
A pocket dimension. That's what it was.
Kind of like CERN, where he basically ripped a little hole in space. And that is very comic booky. That was comic book thing. I mean, comic book Lex Luthor, especially in the Silver Age, did all kinds of batshit stuff like that versus like just straight up, evil businessman Lex that we've had more recently.
So he uses this pocket dimension to go different places and stuff. And he gets into the Fortress of Solitude. They don't tell you how, but it's explained by the end. And then he destroys he has this girl that's covered with nanobots. And then, she hacked into his computer system.
The engineer.
They destroy all the robots. They catch Crypto. And then Superman goes to the deep end because you took his dog. And then he keeps setting him up like on camera where he's yelling at Lex, like yelling at Lex, and Lex is like, I don't know what you're talking about, and trying to stay calm and making comments under his breath to make it matter, and then filming it and saying, look how unhinged he is.
Yeah, I know people like that online. I know people like that online.
Right? Behind the scenes.
Then they're like, you're crazy, and your wife's crazy too.
Yeah,
it's like, crazy you are. I'm gonna sue you.
I know, right? Anyway, so they had that going on, and let me think what else. They in the pocket dimension. In this pocket dimension, they have like prisoners in there and different
his
ex-girlfriends in there.
And Metamorpho, which was very
and then he uses so Superman turns himself in, and somehow Lex is, what do you call him, Planet Watch? They are the ones going to interrogate him in this pocket dimension, and they have the guy using kryptonite on him. But then he wants his son back, so he lets him back up so that he can get a son for him. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to ruin the whole movie, but
this is a spoiler section, right? So Metamorpho was definitely a choice.
They made him act was definitely a choice.
Yeah, it didn't. I wasn't thinking like this. He doesn't really act like comic book man. He's just like some dude that just can turn into different things.
He's literally like, yo, man, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. But that's one thing I will say about Gunn, and he did this with Suicide Squad too, because he had like Polka Dot Man in Suicide Squad. He picks like the most random, like obscure, bizarre characters to throw into it. And part of me is like, it seems like a bit much to throw it. I guess if this is the first movie of a new DC universe, bringing in characters that are like that extreme right out of the gate, kind of like, I don't know if I would have done that, but
Guy Gardner and Mr. Terrific were great, but the Hawk Girl, and I'm sorry, there wasn't, she wasn't good. There wasn't much for use for her. She was screaming all the damn
screamed
time.
a lot. That's
all she does is scream. And they had like good scenes. Like at one point, Lois tries to go get them to help her, and the only one that'll help her is Mr. Terrific. And there's a scene where they go to wherever the base is, and he puts a shield around her, and there's a whole fight scene around her, which was really fun.
That was
really
a very James Gunn,
but it was done well.
The rock music and the whole the music playing, the fighting and the whole
And there was scenes like when Superman helps this lady on a bridge, and then he rises up through the dust, which you saw in the trailer, to make sure she got out okay. And that was actually good. There was like different scenes and different parts that were good,
tonally different.
But then next thing you know, James Gunn would put some stupid something in there that would ruin it, and it's like, dude.
So yeah, that was kind of my thing. I guess the way the movie was marketed. Because they did actually keep a lot of it hidden. I mean, all the leaks were out there or whatever, but the way the movie was marketed is it looked to me like it was trying to shoot for almost that reverential, hopeful tone of, Superman 78, where it's like, Superman is like a Jesus type figure, and that's, him in the clouds, and they're all chanting Superman to get the flag up, which plot twist, they're all like, Superman. Guy Gardner shows up. It's like, yeah, sorry to disappoint you.
Yeah, he's busy. He called us for
he's
help.
busy.
Which he did. He did call them for help.
Yeah. But then that going too, where it's like Superman can't do everything himself, so he's got to bring friends in, but then that's like a whole nother thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is the movie trying to say? It basically felt like this is Tuesday for Superman. Like we're dropping you in the middle of like a typical work week for Superman, and he's just hanging out with some of his other super friends, and Lex Luthor is up to some super shit, and also there are monkeys slinging shit on the internet. But tomorrow will be a whole nother day. And
how they made everybody hate him was because he went and the engineer hacked in and restored this message he only ever heard half of. And the second half of that message from his parents was the one basically about rule over them and stuff. And it was true. They supposedly sent this message, and they aired it for everybody to see, and then said that he was sent there to destroy them and everything else. And that's how they got everybody. And they even literally had a bunch of monkeys on social media sending hate comments, like bots. Bot monkeys.
Shit is real. Super shit is real.
And this is all, like I said, it's his little therapy session because he got his ass canceled. That's what this whole thing was about. That was dumb. What if we make Superman get canceled? Because that happened to me once. And then, then it turned out they were mad at him because they said he shouldn't have stepped in the middle of the conflict. And it turned out that he was right, that the one like pseudo Israel was definitely trying to start shit to take over, because it turns out what the whole thing is Lex made a deal with them where he gave them weapons, and then he get half of this other land that he get to be king of, and it had a bunch of mineral resources and stuff he could make a lot of money on. So he was doing that, but he was also doing it because he knew Superman would come out, so he could kill him with this Ultraman, which turned out to be a clone of Superman, which is how he got into the Fortress of Solitude. I was like, yawn on that one.
I don't know. It felt like there were a lot of things going on in this movie, and none of them, nothing, like I said, nothing really to me. Again, your opinion could be vastly different from mine.
And that's okay. It's completely okay if it is.
But to me, it just felt like there was like 9 different ideas. He really wanted to make an ensemble movie, but he had to use Superman, but then he didn't really know what to do with Superman because he's an edgelord. So he just surrounded Superman with a bunch of edgy, more interesting characters, and something found families better than, or adopted families better than the people you're Born 2.
Because they made a big deal of saying when he was injured at the beginning, he wanted to play the video of his parents because it calmed them. So they played the video of the Kryptonian parents, and at the end they play the video of his parents, and it's like his Earth parents because he's
like, fuck those guys.
He's like, I'm human. I decide I'm human, and he's going to, and then he's playing all kinds of clips of his childhood and stuff. And Mom Podcat, which Podcan's still alive in this one. Actually, if they were from the Midwest, they were pretty more spot on than what you usually see though for parents.
Yeah, because they were always, I mean, they're like normal people. I mean, that's one thing that at first I was kind of like, I'm not really sure about this because they seem like too, I don't want to say
too hicky.
Yeah, they seem a little too like stereotypical rednecky, whatever. But then I'm also thinking like, yeah, it is kind of weird that in pretty much every other Superman iteration of Superman, they look like movie stars. You know?
I know, yeah.
It's like they're ridiculously good looking for farmers from the Midwest. Yeah,
they're like the zoo. They went to the Zoolander school. They're ridiculously good looking. But they actually fit better. I think for what Mom Podcat would have been. I thought they fit better. And they show videos of that. That's his parents as far as he's concerned. Because basically it's like, it doesn't matter what the message said. It mattered that you didn't want the message to say that. And it was more about your actions than it is theirs. And you can still be a good person. Even the people you come from aren't good people, was what they were trying to say. And I'm all for the good person message because I believe in that myself.
Superman basically becomes Superman because he chooses to do the right thing, even though his parents...
He had the power not to. Yeah. And he didn't. He chooses to, and he even saves squirrels, and he saves a dog, and he saves a squirrel, and relatable on my side because I totally would do that as well. And at the end, it turns out, Crypto's there because he said it was a foster situation. He's watching Crypto because his Supergirl was away. She comes in like acting like a drunk ass bitch. And it's like, she even calls him a bitch, doesn't she?
Yes.
And she comes in.
She calls him a bitch. I'm like, oh my God, I hate her already.
Like a drunk sorority girl, and it was like, and my daughter's like, what did they do?
Oh God, yeah.
She kept looking at me like, what is this?
No, it's a James Gunn movie. It's a James Gunn movie is what it is.
Superman paint on it.
With and that's the thing. And look, I like James Gunn movies, I do, but there are certain kinds of characters I think that he does justice to, no pun intended. And Superman I do not believe Superman is in his wheelhouse. I think it's like I said, I feel like he had to surround Superman with characters that are more aligned with his style of filmmaking because he didn't know what to do with Superman himself.
Now, that said, I would watch a Crypto and Guy Gardner show all day long.
Yeah, I thought Guy Gardner was great.
They would be great. I would watch them. And
they're doing a Guy Gardner series, I think.
Oh, I hope so, because I'd watch that. But it just sucks though, because I think these actors were great and they were cast right.
Yeah, they were.
And I feel bad because I feel like they didn't get what they deserved as far as the movie goes. And I feel bad about that because they had so much potential. They really did.
Feels like we got dropped into the middle of an ongoing series, and this is just on the CW with a bigger budget. And if we could see the rest of the show and have just a couple episodes just dedicated to just Clark being Clark, or Lois and Clark, or maybe just Clark one-on-one with Lex Luthor, and not
he's hardly even Clark in this. I mean, honestly,
he is hardly Clark in this. And that's the thing, because Superman is Clark Kent. Clark Kent is very much his personality. It's his ethos is Superman. It's not like Batman, where Batman is the real character and Bruce Wayne is a disguise. In this case, it's the disguise actually is Superman for Clark Kent, because he's very much that
he's
person.
The same. He's him either way.
Yeah, he's him either way.
Glasses that they said about being hypno glasses, which I thought that was cool.
That came from Tom King, but that actually was the thing. It was just something that a lot of people forgot about.
But it makes whatever. It makes sense though. It does make sense, but more than just I have glasses on, you don't recognize me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, you can like it if you do. And if you like it, that's great. I'm really happy you do, because I know Kneon really wanted to like it. But
I did. And I think maybe that was the problem. Was with each trailer, I got my hopes up more and more. And the problem is that the trailers built up the hope angle, built up that kind of messiah quality of Superman, and then when you watch the actual movie, you're like, oh yeah, this is a James Gunn movie with, you know, some Superman.
But I said there were good moments. There were shining.
There were good moments. Yeah.
Unfortunately, they were usually followed with some James Gunn shit that ruined the whole thing. But like I said, you're allowed to like it, and that's cool if you disagree. I'm glad if you do, because you know I don't want people to be miserable and hate things. I just wish it was better. I hope these guys get a chance at something else with better script. I never thought James Gunn was a good fit for Superman from day one.
No, but, he's great at what he does.
The trailers look good though, but
yeah, Guardians was great. I love the Suicide Squad. Again, though, those are those, you know, edgy misfit characters, and it just for me it does not work with Superman.
Yeah, so it is what it is. People are liking it, and that's cool. I don't. We're gonna be honest. We're always gonna be honest here, and I'm just telling you, the whole group, all 5 of us, were kind of like, eh.
Yeah.
And the theater, usually when you come up with a movie that's good, everybody's like laughing and smiling, and they're like, you know, they weren't talking at all. They were all just like, kind of like scowling and just walking out sullen. Am I wrong?
Confused. I don't think anybody was angry. I mean, I don't feel like I wasted my time seeing it. I think just baffled by it.
People just did not seem like into it when they were leaving. I mean, I could be wrong, but the people that were in the theater with us anyway were like, what was that? You know,
well, I think they were. Yeah, there were a lot of, you know, oddball choices, a lot of like really goofy moments. I think people were like, they're not expecting
reined Gunn in.
Yeah,
if they had reined him in, I think it could have come out much better. But you know, like I said, one friend that's with us is usually like they like stuff far more than we do. They're usually much more, you know, lenient with stuff, and they literally just like to enjoy stuff. They don't criticize it, and even they were like, it was okay. It wasn't great. There were some issues, you know, and that's not like them. So take it for what you will.
Superman and Lois is better.
I don't know. I didn't watch
just overall, I get more like Superman vibes from that. You know what I'm saying? Just like, I guess it was
he was a good Superman. This guy's
he's a great Superman. I feel the same.
Christopher Reeve.
I feel the same way about him that I do about Peter Capaldi. I love Peter Capaldi. I think he's the best of the new Who doctors. No offense to you, Matt Smith, if you're listening. David Tennant, you just got weird. But Peter Capaldi is my favorite. Unfortunately, most of the episodes were shit. But I don't hold against him, right? When he was allowed to shine, he definitely did shine. And I feel the same with this guy, with Cornswell. I think he's a great Superman. I just feel like he needed more time to be Superman.
I just think that they should give the characters more, let them be themselves more. Anyway, we're just going really long on this, so let's wrap it up.
We are.
I'm tired. It's late. We went and saw it.
I stand by my 5. It's very mid for me. I don't know if I'd watch it again. I would play it in the background,
6.5.
Okay.
And right. I mean, maybe if I watched it again, I might even think better than that. But the actors were all good. That's what gets me. They were so good. It's just that they just. Yeah. Anyway, that's what it is.
Anyway, well, let's wrap it up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.